Hello and welcome to TelecomTV. We are at the OpenStack Summit 2016 here in Barcelona, and I'm talking with Susan James, Head of Product Line NFV Infrastructure, Product Area Cloud Systems at Ericsson. Long title, Susan, but great to see you again.
Nice to see you again.
Hasn't been too long this time. I'd like to begin by this. Can you tell us what role can OpenStack play in helping CSPs transform and virtualize their networks?
Well, I think OpenStack gives operators a choice, and I think that that's one of the things that we're working with a lot. So, you know, instead of just having something like VMware for virtualization technology on the compute, I mean, OpenStack provides, you know, a clear alternative to them going forward. So it's about, you know, new ways of working and choice, really.
Now, originally created as an infrastructure as a service enterprise, can OpenStack actually meet the really rigorous requirements and the SLAs of the public telecom system?
We started this journey a long time ago, around 2011. We became quite active from an Ericsson perspective, and at that point in time the answer was absolutely no. But you know, a lot happens over that period of time. 2 releases per year for 5 years. There's a lot of content that gets built in there. So I would say that we're much closer today than we were when we started the journey, but there's still some things that need to be done. And I think, you know, over the last couple of years, we've seen OPNFV play a significant role in how those telecom grade features, as we called them at the time, are being implemented. But once you start to learn the language and talk about it in a different way, things like resilience, robustness, scalability, all of these things are things that not only CSPs get behind, but you know, large-scale enterprises, everybody wants those kind of characteristics. So I really start to see those things coming through in the projects now from OpenStack.
And would you say everyone is now pulling together and going in the same direction?
For sure. I think, you know, there are still some flavors of what people, some people think are more important than others. But at the end of the day, for OpenStack to really become pervasive in all enterprises, then it does need to meet those high availability and high characteristic needs, as well as the flexibility for different types of applications.
Now, you mentioned another open initiative. There are many of them out there, Susan. How does OpenStack integrate with them? You know, OPNFV, you mentioned, OpenDaylight and so on.
OpenStack is looking very much at the virtualization layer for compute. I mean, SDN is then looking at the virtualization of the networking. And of course you have the Open vSwitch as well. But I think OPNFV really provides a great framework of how you bring all of these different open source software together, integrate it and create the right kind of environment, particularly for operators to be able to run their workloads on top of. So we see OPNFV as a body that helps make a choice around which open source projects should be pulled together to provide you know, the right kind of characteristics for real-time workloads.
And Susan, Ericsson is a very well-known, very big vendor. Can you tell us how the company is integrating OpenStack into its network transformation process and solutions for CSPs? And can you give us some real-life examples?
Well, I think the most famous ones we've been talking about are things like the Telefonica Unica project, where we've been working there across not just the Spanish organization, but towards different opcos. We also have Telstra and Swisscom, but I think one of the ones that is very interesting from our perspective is what we've been doing with Docomo, where we're just providing the OpenStack layer there based on our CE product and integrating with third-party hardware and different vendors' applications, different VNFs there. So, I mean, that has been a long-term engagement with Docomo, really working on the sort of characteristics on OpenStack that we feel are necessary for you know, telco-grade workloads. And I think that, you know, there will continue to be more and more coming into the press as we go forward over the next few months.
Okay, thank you. Now, last week, Ericsson announced a partnership agreement with Red Hat. Why the agreement? What's it for? What's its purpose? Give us some detail.
I mean, Red Hat is you know, a leader in open source, so always great to work with technology leaders, and we see ourselves well fitted from that perspective. But it's really about giving operators choice, and we don't feel that it should be our job to dictate to operators exactly what OpenStack distribution that they choose. I think we can give guidance, of course, but that's really up to them to choose. But it's also about, you know, to run RHEL-based workloads, Red Hat OSP is obviously the right platform for doing that. And given that there's so many applications that run RHEL, it's really important for us to be able to onboard other companies' applications onto our infrastructure, not just in the NFV space, but also in the IT space. So it's really about providing choice and having a complete portfolio offering for operators.
Is it for a specific period, or is it an open-ended partnership?
No, it's an open-ended agreement, and we are validating the Red Hat OSP platform and a number of their software on our HDS platform, on our BSP platform. So it's actually broader than just an OpenStack engagement. We're also working with them in an upstreaming perspective in the different communities to make sure that we see the right kind of content coming to be able to address our NFV market. So covers OpenStack, covers OpenDaylight, covers vSwitch, it covers OPNFV from an upstream perspective, and I'm sure we'll see more engagements around some container projects as well. And then also from a business perspective, it's covering a broader part of both portfolios. So it's really a collaboration on many fronts.
I was about to say, it's interesting to see real-life collaborations that have pretty immediate effect, and you know precisely where you're going with it.
Absolutely.
Some of these agreements are a bit amorphous. This seems less so.
I think it's, when we've started working together, it really feels like something that is a very natural evolution of where we are from both companies. And they're in every operator in the world and every major enterprise, so it just makes business sense for both of us to sort of come together and work in a more collaborative fashion.
Okay, Susan James, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks again.